Hi, and welcome to another LinkedIn Live, which we have today. This is a series of LinkedIn Live, which I've committed to do based on a doing LinkedIn Campus to Career. And today we have a very exciting guest, Trish here. Hi, Trish, and welcome to the LinkedIn Live.
Hi, Abhishek. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here with you. Hello,
Thank you,
LinkedIn.
thank you for coming in here, Trish. So, Trish, why don't you just tell everybody about yourself, your journey, and what you're doing currently?
Okay. My name is Trish Kane, and I am the CEO and founder of HEALERVERSE. I'm 38 years old, so I've been on this beautiful career journey now for about 20 years, probably. I started working when I was very young, probably about 5. My dad had me stuffing envelopes and helping him because he did sales to do little things for him. And currently, next week, I'm launching a social media platform and a marketplace for people to find spiritual and holistic healers in their community and digitally, globally, on the metaverse or on Zoom or YouTube or LinkedIn Lives. So that way it can really bring people together and for people to be able to find what healers are out there, what modalities, spiritually and holistically. Basically, you can book appointments, workshops, and events right through the platform. So it's very niche and it's for people to be able to find everything in one place for the first time. My journey up until this point is, just I've learned a lot over the years from being in a lot of different industries and a lot of different positions. One thing that I know is that it's about the journey. So that's where I'm at today. I also have an apothecary store online, and I do some healer business coaching. And I love to just be part of a lot of different things. I think part of my entrepreneurial spirit.
Absolutely, Trish. So Trish is one of the first persons I think I've met who started working at 5 years old. So Trish, how was so let's start from there.
No
Uh,
way.
how you got started and how it helped you? I mean, you were you getting paid for working when you were 5 years old? It was or it was just candies and you were working for it.
I didn't get paid. Basically, I've always had like this spirit of wanting to do stuff. And since I was a kid, my dad basically said, here's some tasks. This is what you do. He's also an entrepreneur and basically needed help. So, what else are you going to do as a kid? You can only go play at the park so much. So, I think at that time, my dad was working, selling, or financing mainframes. Remember mainframes?
Right, right. The
some
IBM
of the
ones.
some of the kids on here won't even know what that is. But yeah, he was like selling in my I think it was mainframes. Yeah, selling and financing mainframes. So I was helping him actually back then to stuff envelopes that he was sending out to customers and potential customers.
Oh,
And yeah, and it's funny that I brought that up because I don't talk about that much. But I think it was just ingrained in me as a child because it's important. I mean, I'm not a parent, but for people to and parents to show their kids how to do things from a young age instead of just being like, okay, go figure it out. Um, and I'm grateful that my dad did that for me because it's like the little tasks that we learn that we implement still today, you know?
absolutely. I completely agree with you. And in fact, my dad also used to tell me a lot of things to be done, like maybe put a wiring, and I always used to escape from there. But once I've come here, I've realized how important that skill set was because
Yeah.
I never used to do it. It's so I mean, doing these small things at such a young age, probably you started, and probably now you were doing sales and marketing of sending those envelopes. And Trish,
Yes.
your career journey has been into multiple industries. So what after what was your next job? after being 5 year old? What was the next job which you started?
Yeah, so if you really want to start there, I basically babysat since I was maybe 10, 11, 12, for kids in the neighborhood. And I made pretty good money at that age.
Mm.
And I was always booked up. And after that, I worked at like a bagel place and an Italian restaurant, being a hostess and a waitress eventually. And while I was in school, and so that was good because one of the things that I found from doing that and kind of customer service is that I really like people, you know.
Mm.
So I think as we experience all these different jobs or careers, it's not about the industry unless we love it so much. It's about the experience. So, and seeing what we really like to do. Because I think too, when we're kids, we're in school, we have a curriculum to follow. This is what you do. Maybe you want to play sports or be part of music or different other arts, but really, like, what do you like to do, you know?
Mm.
That's kind of what I found out through some of these jobs as a kid, waitressing, hostessing. I really found out that I like people, I like to exceed expectations, and I like to bring spirit into any situation that I'm in. And then after that, so when I was a junior in college, I worked at a restaurant, also doing hostessing, and it was like fun. It was in White Plains, New York, and yeah, and the following summer, I really wanted that job still, but I wound up. I had an internship on the New York Mercantile Exchange in crude oil.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I grew up fast. I'll say that because that was wild. So it was literally hundreds of men,
Mm.
and maybe there was like 6 women down there. And the hours were from 10 to 2, Monday through Thursday, and then no, 10 to 2, and then only 10 to 1 on Friday. So, as you can imagine, everybody was really wild. But what I learned from that was that I really loved the energy of just the fast pace and the New York attitude. And also, I really learned how to channel my masculinity at that time because I almost like had to be on defense as like such a young
Mm.
girl.
Mm.
And there was a lot of shenanigans going on down there too. But also, I learned that I really wanted to, like, I had this drive for success, and I actually wanted to show up to that every single day. And then the following summer, I interned at the Bank of New York on Wall Street, where they did derivatives and FX trading, and they also did wealth management on that trading floor. And I was in the product management team, and now I'm dating myself. So I actually helped them construct a electronic filing cabinet because they still had papers, and
Oh.
kids today would laugh at this, but kids today would laugh at this, but they still had everything in paper form in filing cabinets. So
Mm.
they were like, okay, we need to like construct this. And actually, I was getting paid like $16 an hour as an intern. So I was like, this is great, you know? That was really good for an intern. And at that time,
Right.
sometimes interns work for free just for the experience. And I was also part of like the pandemic planning committee. And
Mm.
what's interesting about that is I didn't even reflect on that until most recently. But
Mm.
basically, that was in, they put that into place because of 9/11, not for something like COVID, right?
Mm.
So
Mm.
I'm not sure what happened fast forward after that, but
Wow.
and yeah, but that was interesting. But the culture there, so again, how I tick is really how I feed off energy, and the culture there was very dry.
Mm.
So I didn't really fit in. And actually, I was disappointed because I was doing really well in business school at the time. And I was thinking, why am I going to business school if I'm going to be doing something like this when I graduate? Like, this
Why
is
need to study?
yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And then after that, I financed ships and oil tankers when I graduated from college. And that was so fun because it was super international. And I was working for a British company, actually. So I got to travel to Europe quite a few times, to Greece and London. That's when I fell in love with London. And again, I just loved the energy of it, right? So everyone's different. And I think it's important to find out more about yourself and just keep growing and evolving in that direction. And and everywhere I've always worked, I've always worked my way up really quickly just by being a happy person that's like literally bringing joy to the workplace, and kind of always been responsible for the CRM system, whether it's starting one, implementing one. One time at a job, I was scanning and indexing business cards into a CRM system. Like, we're going back.
So your skill set, what I can understand till now is has always been bringing more value to where you work, and I mean by seeing it, a lot of organization skills, whether it is scanning business cards, putting them into a system, or whether creating or maybe taking those paper files out and then putting them into electronic system.
Yeah. I think too it's important, yeah, from stuffing envelopes to scanning files into an electronic filing cabinet to implementing CRM systems. It's like really whatever you're doing, it's good to start at the bottom,
Mm,
because then you're able to learn everything. Like everyone that works for me today, I'm like, we researched over 55,000 healers in the US to email once
mm.
Healerverse launches. And I told them like 3 weeks ago, guys, the research that you've been doing, I've done it. They're like, really?
Right, right.
How do you think I came up with the idea to do this? Because
Absolutely.
I've done it.
So it's just not giving commands, but it is also getting your hands dirty and getting the real thing, because then you can maybe teach your juniors or your team as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and it's all about the experience. And I feel like those early days are so significant for me because of the little things that I learned and the adaptability that I learned, and learning about people and cultures and how people tick. And that's still what fascinates me today. And I find most interesting is learning about people and what makes them happy and what makes them tick. And as a boss today, I think I have 13 people working for me now. And it's kind of like, what makes you happy? Because I want to work for them today,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
I want to work for them as their boss or whatever.
That's really, really very insightful conversation, Trish, because a lot of bosses, a lot of entrepreneurs think that my employees are working for me. So just, I mean, let's stick to this thought. What is the thought process when you think that I'm working for my employees rather than they working for me? And how this mind shift completely changes the way you look at your business and the way you look at your employees?
Yeah, so I like to look at them as family.
Mm,
And when I've met with a lot of people that I've spoken to about my business, whether it's been potential investors or potential partnerships, some of them have said to me, "That's not a good thing." And I'm like, "Well, then we're not in alignment, and that's
mm,
okay." Because I think it's so important to value people. Like I probably have at least 50% women and probably about 50% men. And the women, I love that they're home with their kids, and I know how meaningful that is to them to be able to be home with their kids. And if I'm on with them on Skype or Zoom and their kids are yelling in the background, I like it. That's normal.
right,
Like I don't have kids. I have a dog, and if he starts barking right now, like that's normal. It's nice
right.
to be around people you love. And
Mm,
I think too, finding out with every single employee or every single person you work with or that's working for you, it's different for everybody, really, what they're doing it for. Some are just doing it for the paycheck. Some want to see the company succeed. Some want to work on their career or learn. And I like to find out from them what makes you tick, like what makes you excited, and
mm,
make sure it's in alignment too. and it's different for everybody, and that's good. That's good, because I like to see like what I can do to like exceed their expectations and make them feel like they're part of, and make them want to be part of. It's important to me because I mean, it depends what kind of an industry you're in or an organization, but like my company is Healerverse, you
Mm.
know? Like if you're not happy at Healerverse, then
You can't be happy
that's
anywhere
okay.
else.
But yeah, like it's, if we're, I think too, it's like what I kind of learned as a kid was like we fight inside, you know what I mean? And like we don't tell anybody what's really going on. And when we go out into the world, we put
Mm.
on a smile, and that's not
Mm.
always the case, right?
Mm.
So I'd rather just like, of course we're gonna have like maybe disagreements or like, oh, this isn't the best way. Yes, it is, da da da. And that's okay. But like work on it together and actually solve it and then continue on with our lives, because that's normal. Like we're human beings, we're not robots,
Mm.
and robots are cool too, but
Chat GPT is cool, but not as cool as human beings.
I know it's not. It is cool though. I taught it about Healerverse. It already knew about Healerverse, but I
Wow.
taught it a little bit extra.
So Trish, when you talk about employees being aligned to your business goal, company goals, and you also being aligned, is this something which when you hire them, you look at certain points, or do you understand what are their goals, and then you match it? What is your thought process during hiring?
Yeah, I like to feel into it, like what they're looking for, and also like yeah, like what do you see for Healerverse? Like it's definitely a specific culture, and since culture is the value for me, it's so important that we kind of like keep that culture alive.
Mhm.
And I've had some other experiences with people that weren't in alignment with the culture, and it's like that's okay,
Mhm. Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with that. Like I really believe in alignment, energy and alignment, because I I think that's some of the biggest mistakes that I've made professionally. Humbly, I can say that has been not working with the right people or not having the right business partners for me. Not that they're bad people, but
Mhm.
just we have different visions or goals. And some people, too, like, will be like, this is what we're going to do. And it's like the vision's already there for Healerverse. I love ideas, bring in ideas, but like don't try to take control of the idea and like change it and you're in charge. Cause like I want to like make it flow more, like the femininity of it,
Mhm.
you know? Yeah. Like, and just kind of like get rid of the hostile energy. Cause in a lot of workplaces, it is a little bit robotic. So I like people to be able to bring in their creativity and keep it flowy, Water is one of the four elements, and it's a feminine energy, and it's about abundance. And when everything is flowing and you're not forcing stuff, it
Mhm.
just goes so nicely. And that's really the energy and the vibe that I'm striving for. And sometimes initially, when you try to go into the flow, if you've been in like fight or flight or overdrive for so long, it's a little bit uncomfortable, and change could be uncomfortable, but it's all growth, right? And it's always rewarding.
Right, right. I mean, really interesting approach towards being uncomfortable at certain thing and then growing, because growth happens only when you're not very comfortable. You try, but you still try to do those things.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of things are already predestined, anyways. So I think that the universe, whatever you want to call it, will start like being like, hello, like, you're supposed to do this. It might be a little bit scary, but guess what? And
Right.
you're going to keep getting burnt until you listen.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's my experience, anyways. And it's not like a punishment. It's like, this is better for you. Like, I
Hmm.
promise. And it is scary sometimes trusting. But I think, too, like, it takes a lot of, again, getting to know yourself to
Hmm.
know what's best for you. Because nobody could tell you what's best for you. I barely know what's best for me. How am I going to tell somebody what's best for them? Like,
Right.
that took a lot of growth too and learning. Because
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah,
So
like,
this leads to the next question, Trish, is you have worked in at least 5 to 6 different industries, different set of roles, and I'm sure when you were a kid, you never planned that you will open a Healverse in Web3, because probably Web3 did. I mean, not probably, for sure it didn't exist then. And a lot of people, a lot of students, so a lot of audience who come to this LinkedIn live are students, college students who are just getting started their career. A lot of people have a fixed mindset. For example, if and I'm talking about a lot of parental pressure as well, specifically to Asian kids, which I know of. Their parents decide that probably this guy will become a doctor, he will become an engineer, and they already have a fixed pattern, fixed career goals, that this is how I'm going to achieve it. A lot of time it happens, a lot of time it does not happen, and as you rightly said, a lot of time universe has some other plans for you of where you want to reach to your career. So how has your working in multiple industries helped you achieve where you are currently?
yeah. So that actually, like, that's one of the things that I really want to like break is like the things that are like predestined, you know what I mean? Like by our families or like by something we worked for, like nothing goes to waste. So if you're in medical school, you know what I mean? Because your parents or you decided when you were a kid, I'm going to be a doctor so I could be successful and make money.
Hmm.
But something better comes up, like an opportunity when you're a junior in medical school or a freshman. Like,
Hmm.
don't be scared to change direction.
Hmm.
I know, well, you can be scared, but just do it. You know, it's not a waste. Nothing is
Hmm.
ever a waste.
Hmm.
Like, I started my MBA in 2000 and so I graduated undergrad in 2007,
Hmm.
and shortly thereafter I started my MBA, but it was like too much for me. So I
Hmm.
left and I went back later,
Hmm.
and it winds up working out better. But I mean, sometimes like being redirected is really important that you listen to it against all odds. And I almost like want to like cry thinking about it because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Hmm.
And even like when it comes to dating and stuff, like I've had certain people be like, you should date a doctor. And I'm like, why would I love doctors. Why would I date a doctor? Like, I'm an entrepreneur. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It goes back to the fact of like, again, everybody thinks that they know what's best for everybody, but like we were created uniquely ourselves for a reason.
Hmm.
And there's so many cool things out there today that were never out there 5 years ago, even. Like Web3 is
Hmm.
new. It's
Hmm.
only like let's think. It's not even 5 years since we've
Yeah, I
had
think
any.
3 years since pandemic. I think it has recently picked up.
Yeah, like it's only 5 years since NFTs were created, right? And
Right.
I've been in the NFT space for 2.5 years, by the way.
Hmm.
Um, just like tapping into it and learning about it. But I think like my biggest advice, and this might not be what you want to hear, but maybe it is. Maybe it's your ticket. Is like if something else comes up, go for it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You're fully supported, and there's a reason that you have dreams, and it didn't go to waste that you spent this time focusing on that. Trust me, it will come into play. Like I've had so many different jobs that have taught me
Hmm.
so many different things, and it never makes sense until retrospect.
Hmm. Hmm. Absolutely. You connect
Yeah.
the dots later and then see the bigger picture.
Yes, big time. And I think it's made me the person that I am. Obviously, I'm adaptable and I learn fast because
Hmm.
I've been in so many different industries, and like also getting to know people and how they tick, you know? And
Hmm.
it's served me in so many ways. And also, not for nothing, it's 2023. People used to go into one position and stay there the whole career and retire and have like, well, I'm a US person, have a pension. These
Hmm.
days in the US, it's a 401k. You know what I mean? If you're lucky. And you have had multiple jobs, multiple
Hmm.
careers.
Hmm.
I think really it just comes down to listening to yourself and getting to know yourself again.
Hmm.
And it's
Hmm.
scary. And write stuff down. You can manifest whatever you want. Really, like a good way to get to know yourself besides trying new things is writing down what you want, like
Hmm.
from your heart, not your head, what you
Hmm.
want, and like what do you even like to do?
Hmm.
Sometimes you have to try new things to find out what you actually like to do. Because I didn't really know what I like to do.
Right, right. So I think, I mean, what Trish is trying to say here is write it down. And a lot of time, I mean, from my experience, I've also worked in multiple categories, multiple industries. I think it is very important to decide on certain things of that this is something which I would never do. For example, I worked in an event management company for 10 days and I decided that this is not something which I would like to do for the rest of my life. And again, it's not that it's a bad industry, it's a good industry. It's probably I am not capable of doing it, or I am not interested in doing this. I don't want to run around for 18 hours doing events shift, doing without doing things without even thinking. So a lot of time not doing things is also important, but you have to get into it to know that this is something which is not for you.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that story. And yeah, so when I got my MBA, actually, here's a story. Um, I graduated in 2017, and it was 10 years after I graduated from undergrad.
Hmm.
And actually, so it was an MBA, and then I took extra classes for like a certificate in hospitality. So,
Hmm.
hospitality and events management, actually. And it's so funny because when I graduated, my family is like, what hotel are you going to go work at? And I'm like, I was never intending on working at a hotel. They're like, why would you take those extra classes? And I'm like, because I want to like learn more about people and how to exceed
Hmm.
their expectations. Plus,
Right.
I got to be a secret shopper. It was so much fun in a hotel for a night. And
Correct.
today, as Healerverse NFTs is like in the works, like we're gonna do a huge event in person and probably on the
Correct.
metaverse. And was the MBA specialty, the extra 3, 4 classes I took, worth it?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Because
Right.
basically, I mean, I was never planning on working in a hotel. Like, no way. Maybe,
I have done 3 years of course in hospitality, and I work in hotels only for a year and decided this is again something not for me. So yeah, it
yeah.
depends on a lot of people.
But it's like sometimes, like, because everything is so streamlined in school,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Sometimes it's the silver lining in what we're learning in school that's not even being taught to us, but we're seeing it from a different angle and like getting creative with it.
Hmm.
I think certain classes allow us to tap into our creativity and come up with new ideas that never existed.
Right, right. So this brings to me to the next question, Trish. I mean, you spoke about a lot of time what we study in school and colleges is of no real value in the real world. So as a student, what advice you would like to give to somebody who's studying in a college or in school? Should they focus more on academics, or should they focus on other things and finding what they want to do and then this is a hundred 100 million question which I asked to a lot of people is, do you really think people who are good in academics during your school and colleges are they doing well in life today? So these are my two quick questions to you. Sorry,
Wow.
this was not planned, but I just thought of
No, I
asking
love
this
that.
question to
No,
you.
it's good. This is like the perfect question. So, no, they're not synced. They're not synced.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, because life doesn't work like that. It's not linear. It's not A plus B equals C.
Hmm.
I think it honestly comes down to who you know, what you like to do,
Hmm.
and are you able to bring something unique to the table? Because people like to work with people that they like.
Hmm.
And the other thing is, it definitely has nothing to do with how you do in school. Like, I did really, really well in business school. I didn't have a 4.0, but I had like a 3.8 major
Wow.
GPA in undergrad, like major GPA, not GPA.
Hmm. Right.
And in graduate school, I think I had like a 3.9 or something.
Hmm.
But
Wow.
I'll tell you this, when I was a kid, I was in something called resource room, and it was
Okay.
actually where the kids go that need extra help.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was humiliating. And because everyone else got to go to regular school. But the truth
mm,
is that I
mm,
never fit in the box, you know?
mm,
I never fit in the box
mm,
of like A plus B equals C. And like, and man, like hopefully one day they'll change the school systems to be like more unique and specialized. Like if I
mm,
could have stayed working since I was like 3
mm,
or 5 or whatever it was, stuffing envelopes, and
mm,
worked that whole time and then went to college, I would have been good with that. Cause like
mm.
the thing is that I don't care about history. It just doesn't phase me. Why should I study that?
Study
I don't.
this. Mm,
The government, different stuff that they teach you, it doesn't matter to me. It still doesn't matter to me, and that's okay. It doesn't make me not well rounded either, you know.
right, right,
Like
right.
everyone has their own specialties, and channeling into that, because
Mm,
yeah, like I think, if there's something special that you're able to do, like in tech, in Web3, but it's still going to come down to the fact of like who you know or who you meet, like,
mm,
that's going to like bring you in and like give you the job or whatever. Obviously, if you go to like Harvard or Oxford or something, people like put that on a pedestal, and I think that's amazing too.
mm,
It is impressive. I really do think it's impressive.
mm,
um but also it comes down to who you know besides that, and who's willing to give you a shot. That's
mm,
another thing, it's if somebody tells you no, no, and you believe it's a yes, go for
mm.
it, yeah.
But Trish, I mean, I completely agree with a lot of your points, but all these things come, you start thinking about in when you start looking back in your life. At that stage, when you are there, you're always confused. You still, so what are some of your tips which you would like to give to students to decide whether to go on this side at that point of time? I mean, yes, there are certain ways, but is there something which they can do to decide which career path to take when they are at that stage?
Yeah, I think really like looking at what's out there and doing some research
Mm,
and seeing like, okay, well, I like this. Because the thing is, it's like, how do you even know what careers are unless you
mm,
really do some research?
mm,
Maybe find a mentor to work with. There are amazing mentors out there that are
mm,
happy to help. You can reach out to the university that you're at or that you're looking to go to and see if somebody's able to mentor you, because you
mm.
are dedicating like 4 to an infinite amount of years if you're going to med school
Right.
to like focusing on something. And again, it is okay to change your mind,
Mm,
but it's good to find like a mentor or somebody that can tell you. We have so much technology these days that you can look online, even on
mm,
YouTube, and people will teach you about it, And I think it is also important to see what you're good at and what you like to do,
mm,
and there are things out there that you probably never even thought of. So really like open up the net wider, like
mm, mm.
wider, bigger. And also there are no geographical boundaries anymore. If
Right.
you live in India and you see somebody in Singapore that is awesome, search them on Google. Even if you just want to have a talk with them, like,
Mm,
I mean, how nice is that? Most people that message me on LinkedIn are looking for money from me. If
mm.
somebody messaged me and was like, I'm really like, I think you're awesome. And would you like be able to have a 10-minute
Right.
conversation with me? I would
Mm,
definitely do it.
absolutely.
I would make the time.
Mm, mm.
So yeah, like see who you look up to.
Right, right. I think that's very interesting approach, and Trish, I'll take few questions from the audiences as well as which have started coming in. So the question which is coming in now is it says how working in different industries has helped you shape a better person, both personally as well as professionally. How or if you would have just stuck to a single industry, what change or what things you would not have learned or what would you have done?
Yeah, so from switching so many industries, I think professionally and personally, it's
Mm,
allowed me to be myself, because I used to always show up at every single industry with what I thought that they wanted to see, because the
mm,
culture is so different and I wanted to fit in, that it's allowed me to really like find myself and show up as myself authentically, and also in my professional life. So I think that's like a two-sided question,
Hmm.
sort of, and maybe not the answer you were looking for, but like that's the truth, you know?
Right.
Um, yeah, like just showing up as myself anywhere I go. Like from Wall Street, which is super dry and like suits and like ties, to like the Web3 community, that could be like so fun. And like obviously the spiritual community, that's like I just show up as myself,
Hmm.
and and it just works out better. So I think
Hmm.
that's like the best piece of advice.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
my
And
response.
this has helped you in becoming a better person, both
Yeah,
personally as well as professionally.
yeah.
Interesting.
Because it is. I used to show up as whoever I thought people wanted me to be. And now I
Right.
just show up as myself. Goofy in the most serious situations. Oh well, that's
That's
me.
right.
So here I am.
Right.
So yeah, just showing up as yourself, I think, is the most important thing.
Don't try to pretend that you are somebody else if you're not. And I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, because there are people who will value you for what you are rather than you just trying to fit in into something.
totally. Yeah.
Right. Right. Trish, my next question to you is so you have worked in across multiple categories, multiple industries. How it is helping you, and now you are on the other side of the table. You were probably an employee, now you're an employer. How has these different experiences? So you spoke about being in Wall Street, you spoke about hospitality, you spoke about being in a crude oil industry as well. So how these different industries have helped you to understand what actually employees want, and how are you implementing those learnings as an employer?
So one of the things that's been super challenging for me personally is learning to like let go of tasks and allow
Hmm.
other people to help.
Delegation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
a big
I
one.
mean, I would love to do it all, and I have.
Hmm.
Um, but learning to to trust other people to hold stuff down has been a
Hmm.
huge learning experience for me.
Hmm.
Would like let them do it, but I would micromanage at first, and then I would still try to hold on, and then change this, do this, do this, and now I'm like, go ahead.
Right.
It's so nice to be able to let go and let other people.
So how are you fighting this urge of doing everything on your own? How do you recognize when it is going to happen and then you try to stop yourself? What are your tips?
Yeah, that's so funny because it is like natural for me, because I have this
Hmm.
like, that old school saying that's like, if you want to get it done right, you better do it yourself. Like
Right.
that was
Right.
ingrained into me.
Right. Right.
Oh my gosh. But then I realized, like, to be successful, like you need
Hmm.
a crew of people to be able to
Right.
support you, and they want to support you, that's what I'm
Right.
finding too. Like there's people that want to actually support you. I thought that I had to do everything on my own, and I
Hmm.
didn't have any of that, but that's not the truth or the case. So yeah, it's like working on myself every single day,
Hmm.
letting go, and
Trust people, trust your team.
yeah, and not trying to control everything. Also, I think too, it's like really leveraging my what I like to do and what I'm good
Hmm.
at, and
Right.
doing really a good job at what I'm good at and what I like to do,
Hmm.
and everything else back to the flow, right?
Right.
Everything
Finding
else.
your ikigai is something, yeah, what you are good at. Absolutely.
Yeah, and just kind of being like, okay, what do I need today? And then if we don't have that exact like specialty in house, maybe we bring somebody in,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
I did yesterday. My
Hmm.
friend that's going to do marketing for us.
Hmm.
We needed that.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'll just check if there are any questions, and we'll open this round for people. If they have any questions, they can ask directly on LinkedIn Live, and I'll try to get more answers from Trish journey, new learnings.
Yeah, and anyone can feel free to reach out to me directly on LinkedIn if they do have any questions. I'm happy to hop on a call with them in the next couple weeks or so. Yeah, like I
Sorry.
said, if there's somebody else that they want to reach out to, go for it. Go for it. Even if you're scared, go for it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Right, right. So as we come to the end of this conversation, just thank you very much for coming and sharing your incredible insights and learnings of working in setting up goal, career, defining which route to take. Any other piece of advice which you would like to give to students who are finishing their college, who are about to get into college, what are your last piece of advices?
Yeah, like anything you do, you can't really do it wrong. Everything's an experience. So
Mm,
just like give yourself some ease and grace, you know?
mm,
Um, yeah, like maybe you don't hear that all the time. But truly, and like just keep trying, and enjoy it. It could be an exciting and difficult time at the same time, because when you don't really know your identity,
mm.
it's a little tricky, but also none of this stuff does define you. I
Right.
think that's my biggest piece of advice. Like, your career doesn't define you. It's just
Mm,
part of you, or part of your
mm.
journey, like it boils down to whoever you want to be. So enjoy it.
And in the end, it will all work out. So, all those who are listening to this interesting conversation, don't worry too much. Do what feels right at that point of time. And
Yeah,
as Trish said, if you start looking it in probably once you look back at your life, you'll see everything which you did eventually led you to somewhere here. Right.
exactly. Isn't that
On
how it
that note, we will finish this conversation. Thank you, Trish, for coming on the LinkedIn Live. And
thank
if people
you.
would like to reach out to Trish for any career advice, and now we know she has worked in so many industries. Out of all those, in any industry, if you would like to get in touch with her,
Yeah,
do get in touch with her on LinkedIn.
happy to do anything I can to help. Thank you so much,
So
Abhishek.
thank
Thank
you,
you.
Trish. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.